I'm a loser. Can you believe I'm going to? Yeah.
What the hell's the name of that song?
Something kind of life. I forgot.
Semi-charm kind of life. Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
So that's like somewhat, that takes us back to what, the early 2000s ish?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was a great song.
That was
a great song.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of early 2000 songs, I kind of put together a playlist. I bet a lot of people don't realize that there was kind of I would say almost under the radar, not quite, British invasion that started back in 2000. And you think of British invasion and you think of the Beatles and Rolling Stones and all that and the Who. This one was Travis, Coldplay, Snow Patrol, Franz Ferdinand. Yeah, they're just kind of slipping in there, and there was a lot of good songs, a lot of good stuff from all the bands.
Yeah, Coldplay was huge,
they are huge. They might still be the biggest band in the world, actually.
They were like the U2 replacement, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, Bono. Let me call Bono and chill him out a bit. The U2 replacement.
Well, I was never really a fan of Coldplay because of that. I just thought that they were just doing a, like piano-ish version, like a piano lounge version of the stuff that U2 was doing. And I'm sure Coldplay fans are going to kill me for saying that, but that's the way I kind of saw them. What happened?
You know what? I'm just going to say that I love Coldplay. And I took my teenage daughter and I went to see Coldplay when they came to Seattle. We had great tickets at the big football stadium. It was one of the best concerts we ever saw. It was amazing.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
I don't know. Do I have to? Yeah, I don't know. I loved it. I thought Coldplay was awesome. It was a great show. So talented. And also in the depths of COVID, you remember how you saw different bands or artists during COVID kind of like do little videos of themselves playing music and stuff like that? Man, the one that Chris Martin did for a few hours, I was awesome. It was just awesome. He's like the nicest guy, so personal, kind of like how we think about Dave Grohl being the nicest guy in the world. And he's just sitting there. It was just him, his piano, and a video recorder. And I'm just like total fan.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we have a guest this week. Ryan, how's it going, man?
How's it going? Good. Just enjoying the conversation. It's fun.
Well, you're part of the conversation, so you need to share some thoughts. What do you think about Coldplay? That's why you're here, right? You're here to talk about Coldplay.
I was always a fan of like Foo Fighters and Incubus myself. They were kind of maybe some Blink 182 in there. Those were kind of my go-tos, but all great bands for sure.
Yeah, we're all big fans of Dave Grohl and company here on IoT Coffee Talk.
Yeah, actually, Ryan, I think you're just sucking up.
It would be great to have him on, wouldn't it?
We should have him on.
Yeah, we should.
You know what? Maybe that should be our uber big audacious goal quest, is to find a way to get Dave Grohl on the show, because I think if we can do that, we're going to take off, and we'll probably get dozens more viewers on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Double the audience overnight, just like
that. Overnight. We got up to 30 people. Yeah.
Awesome. So, hey, Ryan, why don't you introduce yourself really quick to our audience?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Leonard. So I'm Ryan Treece. I spent about the past decade in factories for machine vision, private wireless, IoT, sensor networks, measurement gauging, a lot of fun stuff. So I'm currently at Telehealth doing their IoT software for a biz dev role, but excited to talk everything IoT. So I do it at my house with smart home stuff. I do it with my health, with my closed loop insulin pump, and I do it at work. So it's IoT all day, every day for me.
Oh, wow. Wow.
You're living it.
Yeah, we would have never been able to tell that you're a tele guy.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I popped right in from another meeting. I was like, oh, I think I'm out of character.
Yeah.
So funny.
Why don't you tell us about your closed loop insulin pump?
That's what I'm curious.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I got diabetes when I was in my last semester of college. So it was a lifestyle change for me. And I greatly underestimated it because in the hospital, they're like, hey, you take insulin, it makes your blood sugar go down. And then you eat and it makes your blood sugar go up. I'm like, simple math. That's easy for me. But they don't tell you about what stress does to it, if you're dehydrated, if you've done physical activity. There's a lot of other factors. So it was kind of rough at first because until you dial in, everyone has an individual dose based off their body's individual needs. I'd have to wake up in the middle of the night if I was like working out and my blood sugar would go low. And so it interrupted my sleep, which I love my sleep. So I have, it's called the Tandem T-Slim X2 pump. So it's got a Bluetooth connection to my Dexcom continuous glucose monitor. So my Dexcom is reading my blood sugar every 5 minutes, communicating back to my insulin pump. And then if my sugar is trending higher, it'll actually give me more insulin. But if it's trending lower, it'll turn off the insulin pump completely or reduce the dose based off my individual needs. So quality of life for myself, I mean, being able to sleep through the night, being able to exercise more confidently, and just the peace of mind, not having to worry about it in meetings and things like that. It's been a huge quality of life for me.
Is it type 1 or type 2?
Yeah, it's type 1. So these pancreas, my body just attacked my pancreas. It was fun. So but it's incredible. And I think what I like about it most is it's really embracing IoT from a Dexcom standpoint. They have an app on their phone for like parents, especially if they have kids in school. Physical activity like recess, having to have the school nurse give the kid a dose. Now they have real-time data in case of an emergency. You can set thresholds for alerts if it goes above or below. So it's really great, I think, from a quality of life standpoint for a lot of this stuff. I think it's a perfect use case for IoT there.
It's great.
Well, let's hear it for closed loop intelligent systems. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Technology, beautiful.
So you're not just pitching bullshit to people. You're living it, man, when you're talking about IoT.
It's made a huge impact on my life, honestly. It's incredible. I'm lucky.
That's awesome.
So for anyone out there who says that IoT doesn't matter, well,
there you go.
Proof right there.
Living proof. Literally living proof. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's the deal with type 1? When do people usually find out that they have type 1 diabetes, if they're going to have it at all?
So for me, it was dehydration, frequent urination, where I was getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, just exhausted, really, and rapid weight loss to where my body wasn't processing the sugars and entering my body because all carbs broke down to sugars, whether it's bread or candy. And so it was just sitting there in my body, and I was so tired because I wasn't processing it. So those were like I think I lost about 30 pounds or something. And I don't know how many period of time, but I was like, something's not right.
Yeah. Well, because I wasn't sure. I always thought that type 1, like you were born with it, but I wasn't really sure.
Yeah, it's weird that you say that because I have a really good friend whose husband has it, and he works for my husband as well. And my husband's on his alert system, so we get the alert text and all of that. But he's gone through a couple of different versions, and he's like, some of them are just horrible. But he did not find out until his late 20s, and it is hereditary. It but he went all through his childhood years and didn't know it. And like you, he had lost a lot of weight all at once, and he was just kind of tired all the time. But he went into a kind of like a diabetic coma and was in the hospital for more than a week, and they didn't think he was going to make it. And that's how he found out he had it, not, being hospitalized and not knowing he was going to make it. So it's a scary situation, but, I think a lot of people just assume everyone has type 2, which is, it's okay. I can change my habits, and I'm going to change my habits, and I can at least improve this. With type 1, you can change all the habits you want. You will always have it,
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, you could literally do you could eat the same thing. You could do all the same exercise the day before, and you'd get a different outcome of results. Wow. And so it's a tough disease to manage. But yeah, they don't know what happens. It's just like a switch flips in the immune system, or it reaches a threshold, and they're like, hey, like your body's not producing insulin anymore. But it's like I said, I'll even say blessed just to even have this technology available. I mean, the standard of care before it was pricking your finger, doing a blood test with a glucometer, and that's one data point, right? And that's it's a continuous number that will change throughout the day based off exercises. You burn your sugar off and calories, and so it never made sense to me just to have a snapshot, right? And that's where I think the IoT portion, having that context and being able to track and trend and adjust, it's a perfect use case. But yeah, I think medtech is going to be really great for IoT
That's
too.
awesome.
Yeah. I just gave an interview to Easy Eye. What? SI. Yeah, SI. Yeah. And they asked me that question. What's that? What's going to be the big, or what are the IoT areas of growth? And yeah, I cited that, that it would be remote healthcare or healthcare, right? It's just such a perfect area that has a ton of use cases like the one that you're benefiting from, right? And so, wow, this is a really sentimental episode. We're getting down into like real life benefits here. It's pretty awesome.
Hello, folks. For the first time ever, we have a legitimate real life use case for IoT.
Yeah, this is Happy IoT. Dude, this is Happy IoT.
Yeah.
You know what? You mentioned that too, is that, Rob, you remember Paul, Samardadelis?
Yeah.
Okay. He works now for the Telehealth, or Telehealth Association. It's called Telehealth Association. American Telemedicine Association. There it goes. AMA. And, because of COVID, all of the kind of healthcare requirements for, all the restrictions that were kind of in place because of HIPAA in terms of remote healthcare and providing remote health services, they just kind of said, you know what, we have to do telehealth because of COVID. And that opened the doors. And he said they'd never seen the influx of companies joining the AMA to be a part of that association. COVID just spurred it, in the fact that the government was like, okay, let's relax some of these restrictions and let these healthcare providers provide health to wherever the patient is. And so that's changing. I think that those restrictions and the AMA's push and working with the federal government to really just relax a lot of those restrictions that just made it completely horrible for a doctor to provide care to someone who really needs to stay at home. That's changed. And so that's a big thing, I think, for the industry that opens the door for remote healthcare. It opens the door for a lot of the technology providers that had really great solutions, but they couldn't really implement them. So that's kind of a cool thing that I see.
That's a good point.
Oh, that's good.
Everybody talks about how COVID accelerated digital transformation by 5 years or 10 years. At the event I was at yesterday at Mobile Future Forward, Chetan Sharma, when he does his remarks at the beginning, he did mention the telehealth thing as another hit. We went through all these examples of acceleration of digital stuff that was kind of just barely cruising along beforehand. And he talked about telehealth. He showed these charts. He goes, in 2 weeks, a space that has just gone absolutely nowhere because of interstate regulations, inside state, all this stuff. He said, you're right, because of COVID, they just blew up all that stuff and it just skyrocketed. And it's like COVID accelerated so many things and just broke through so much red tape and bureaucracy because it was emergency, right? So yeah, silver lining there for COVID, huh? Whoa.
Think about your... Oh, sorry, Leonard.
No. I was just going to say that maybe that's one of the residual benefits, that we'll get out of this whole crisis, that will last beyond, well into the post-pandemic era, whenever that happens. Hopefully it'll happen soon, So, but what were you going to say, Ryan?
Oh, yeah.
Your show, man.
No, this is your show. I appreciate you having me as a guest. I'm thinking of other industries, like you look at the grocery stores, right? I mean, and the shopping experience. I think a lot of people are getting groceries delivered, and I think that is going to drive digitalization of supermarkets, right? What's available, and trying to streamline that driver pickup experience. So I know some companies like Best Buy, I got an Oculus Quest 2 earlier this year. It was hard to find, but I was impressed with Best Buy's integration of kind of a pickup service to where I was able to order online, drive to a parking spot. The guy just opened up my back door and then placed the bag in there, and then I was on my way, right? If I would have wanted that pre-COVID, that would have never been an option at all. So,
curbside delivery, all of that's changed.
Yeah.
You know what I was going to say too is I heard on the news yesterday, we are going to see some inflation around shipping costs. They said because during COVID, so many people were doing delivery, Amazon, food, everything. And, everyone was ordering online. We were all stuck at home, and gosh, we were, I don't know about you guys, but I was shopping like crazy. I needed to calm down. But they said that FedEx and UPS are their rates, their shipping rates are increasing at I think it was almost 5 or 6%, somewhere between there, across the board. So we are going to see some increases in shipping. And I don't know about you guys, but if you've had some experience with anything that's going U.S. Postal Service, they just got hammered during COVID and they just weren't delivering anything on time. Yeah. And so I think a lot of people are also fed up with just the delays of the U.S. Postal Service. And so they're leaning more on FedEx and UPS to do all of that stuff. And you know what? You can even call Amazon and tell them on your account to not ever deliver USPS. By the way, if those are listening, because in some locals, especially small towns like mine, they will do a handoff to the Postal Service and it might sit there for days. So you can call them or there's a way to process to do that and say, hey, no USPS for my Amazon package.
Stick it to the government. Tear down the walls.
There's that.
Yes, go with FedEx. I spent a bunch of time back in the Windows Mobile era doing a project where I spent a bunch of time and helped FedEx build their whole pickup and delivery system. And that was a lot of fun. They're probably not using Windows mobile devices anymore, but back then they were. So that of all this mobile spaces of different people, obviously in the early, I'd say most of the 2000s, it was primarily Windows Mobile and BlackBerry. iPhone came out in 2008. Android came out after that. And it took them a time to ramp up and everything. And then even as Windows Phone came out and we were kind of a third place. And then when we just kind of trailed off and died, we still owned this whole industrial handset scanner space for a long time. Until we finally ceded that one to, I think Android's running on industrial devices now that do barcode scanning and things like that. But that was good times working with with FedEx and building that stuff and their needs of for scanning and getting things in trucks and delivery and all that stuff. That was crazy. So you've been using Stephanie, you've been like you're using Amazon as kind of like shopping therapy during COVID.
It's a bad thing. You can go and look up a report and you can put in the year. And I looked at all of my spending for the year for Amazon during last year and the year before. And looking at the trend line, it was horrible how much.
So normally, would you drive to either Dallas or Houston to go to the Galleria for your therapy?
No, I wouldn't do that either. I've always been an at-home shopper. It just accelerated. I think just because I wasn't going out to retail establishments or shopping or doing the local boutiques here in town, I just had to get my shopping in some way. So I was on the internet a lot, but Amazon was for the basic stuff. And I can do shopping for dry goods on Amazon, but they don't have the Amazon. I can't get the store experience like some big city people can. They can actually order groceries and have same day delivery. I can't do that here. So
Ryan's going to be your neighbor, not close neighbor, but ish neighbor within 100 miles because Ryan's moving to Austin. Is that right?
Oh yeah, Austin bound.
So me an Austinite.
Yes. Oh yeah, I'm excited.
Stephanie lives in Bandera, which is about 100 miles west.
Yeah, I can get to Austin in an hour and 45 minutes, hour and a half on Stephanie time.
And Stephanie, nice.
It's like internet time.
Wow.
Helicopter wise, it's right there.
Yeah, she has a helicopter. I mean, when you go to her ranch, it's like watching Yellowstone. They got choppers flying around, horses everywhere.
That's hilarious. We love how they kind of just completely blow that out of proportion. Chris is always like, the way they're taking off, that's not how pilots fly. It's just kind of funny. But we flew to the Aggie game this last weekend. And you know what? Texas is so rich. Flying from the hill country to College Station, you fly over all the hill country. You fly south of Boston, Bull Verde, all of that. The mansions that we witnessed and saw. I'm always amazed at the wealth of Texas, but I'm like, man, it is insane what's going on. From the hill country is so wealthy. It's insane.
There's so many people who just discovered the hill country and they're like buying their ranchette out in the hill country. I got some friends of mine in Houston who are in real estate selling parcels out in Blanco and different,
Fredericksburg.
Yeah. Oh, well, Fredericksburg somehow turned into Santa Fe along the way. I've been, because as a kid, our ranch is about 20 miles outside of Fredericksburg. And so I kind of spent every summer there. And Fredericksburg was just nothing.
Yeah.
The only thing Fredericksburg had going for it was the Admiral Nimitz Museum, which they changed it every 10 years. They would remodel it. And then out of nowhere, it's like Santa Fe and everybody wants to go there and it's the hot place. It's crazy how things happen.
Ryan, you'll have to visit. It's 40 plus wineries there and there's great shopping and all of that. But it's so yesterday I was talking to someone and said a 1,300 square foot home, old inside, not modernized, not updated or anything. It's $650,000. So I'm like, we're turning into California over here. What's going on?
Well, California's turning. They're all moving. Austin, along with. Also, Ryan, you'll have to meet our good friend Bill Pous. He just moved to Austin. He's a good friend of the show here, and we're so nice to have Marc Pous here.
Hey, Marc, what's up, man?
Hey, Marc.
Barcelona.
Hey, long time. I don't connect. How are you doing?
We're great.
Good. What kind of connection are you on? Is it 3G, 4G, 5G?
Oh, I'm 4G or maybe 4.5G. I don't know.
Yes.
Nice. Carrier aggregation. That's nice. I like that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm not on helium, that's for sure.
He's not on helium.
Not yet.
That was a good episode, by the way. That was a good
The
episode.
helium episode was very interesting.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
I haven't
super
listened to that one yet. I need to check it out.
Yeah. So
Just to remind everybody, Marc, what is Balena etched? Is that the deal where you write to your SD card or something?
Etcher.
Exactly. Balena Etcher is one of the most used software in the world to flash SD cards or USB drives. So in case that you want to change the operating system of your computer, you will need to flash an SD card or a USB drive with the operating system image. And so Balena, just to reduce the friction of developers or people who wanted to change the operating system of their devices, we just made Balena Etcher open source. And millions of people use it every month just to change the operating system of their computers and devices and so on.
I'm going to use that to change my operating system to Windows 11.
What operating system are you using, by the way?
Windows 10?
Come on! So you should change to something more serious, more professional, like a Linux,
You're right.
Debian
You're right.
Linux distribution or something like that.
You're right. I'm going to switch to some Debian distribution or something to be more legit.
Just with a command line CLI, and that's enough.
CLI.
Right?
We need to make everything as hard as possible for people to use. Go to CLI for everything. Yes.
And I don't know. I love to use VI. I'm not sure if people know what is VI, but yeah, that's as you said. Yeah, that's if you want to make things complex, maybe let's make everyone use VI.
VI is so old school, dude. That's what we all used a million years ago, man. But it's still around. So there you go. Only the losers on Windows are using Notepad, right? Oh my gosh. Oh man. So Marc, we got Ryan on, who's a very familiar face. We hang out with Ryan a lot on Clubhouse.
Okay.
I think that's where we met him.
Nice to meet you, Rice.
Yeah, he's a great moderator. He's just a really friendly guy, and he was sharing with us his whole IoT experience with his type 2 diabetes, right?
Yeah, it's type 1 diabetes.
Type 1, yeah, and how IoT is changing his life, or has changed his life. It's a beautiful story, actually. So we found Happy IoT. We had an episode called Happy IoT, and Rob and I just kind of meandered around trying to figure out what the hell it would be. But this dude brought us Happy IoT.
This is our glucose monitoring episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Ryan, in addition to the glucose closed loop system, they're kind of like the closed loop systems you deal with on factories. You also said you got a bunch of IoT things in your home.
Yeah.
What kind of smart home cool things do you have going on at your house?
Ooh, okay, great question. I always like the Philips Hue for the smart lighting and scheduling the lighting in different environments. I have smart deadbolts that lock at a certain time I scheduled every night. I was having some water that would pool in the backyard, so I was able to do a little ultrasonic sensor for the level, and then have it hooked to a sewage pump for an AC motor to pump out water. So just little. I try to IoT any problem in my life.
Really? I have a question for you. Do you have like a sexy mode, like a sexy scene or whatever set up for your home? No? And does it have anything? Is it connected in any way to the sprinklers outside?
Yes, we are officially explicit now.
Well, I don't.
You want sexy, watering of your plants.
I don't yet. I have fun stuff like a water moisture sensor. I have door sensors, but I don't have the sexy mode scene set up yet.
Okay.
Philips has cool ones that are like focus and like relax for I have one of their light strips I use. But it's really nice from an energy conservation standpoint, and just I like the connected home stuff, so I do all the Amazon devices and I have Spotify connected through my house. So
how do you interconnect them, Brian?
So I have Spotify integrated directly into the Alexa. They have an app. And then I have a SmartThings hub for a lot of the sensors that I'm using. I have the Hue app. I keep telling myself I'm going to do my own home dashboard system to tie all this stuff together, but it gets a little, I don't know if it's the best investment of my time is what I'll say after a while. But I think a lot of it is just stuff I forget to do. Like, oh, did I forget to lock the doors? I don't have to worry about that because they're on time deadbolts, and I can check the status from my house. I have the Ring doorbell system that integrates into the Alexa devices as well. Just anything. I'm really happy with Apple's AirPlay. Actually, I got a new M1 MacBook Pro. And I just used the Apple TV, right? I just wanted to try the new processor. It was like, I haven't bought a Mac in like a decade. And I was like, I'm going in the new architecture.
M1.
No.
But it's nice
nerd.
for sure. I have the iPad Pro. And so it's cool because I can take my Mac and I can they call it like a sidecar, and I can take my iPad Pro and dual monitor wherever I want. But also having Apple TV and my Samsung TV integrated, I now have a 75-inch that I can just project to. I got a projector in the basement with Apple TV. Same thing. I'm sorry?
You do that through casting, or is it another way?
It's AirPlay is built into some of the TVs now.
Yeah.
And then for those that don't, I buy the little Apple TV device. Like I hooked up to my projector in the basement, the little cube.
Worst
I think like
remote control ever.
Oh, I hate it.
I hate it.
Which one?
But apparently the new Apple TV has an improved remote that looks normal.
Oh, it's way better. It's way better. The old one, I hate it too.
In typical Apple parlance, it's like, oh, no problem. If you want to get a new remote, just buy our whole new Apple TV.
There they go again. Damn them.
But actually, it looks to me that the home connected ecosystem, it's still the same silos as it used to be, right? And I compare that like 10 years ago. I compare the connected home ecosystem with like remotes, we have remote for air conditioning. We used to have remote for air conditioner, for hi-fi, for TV, for DVD. So we are still having the same problem, right? Maybe with less remotes, but with more application on the phone, or?
You're right.
That's what kids are for. Hey, son, go and turn on the air conditioner. Turn on the TV. Switch to channel 4.
Is for Alexa will change your channels for you.
And Alexa is listening to all of us right now.
Yeah.
That
me.
I feel like Ryan and Marc have illustrated something in the home that we talk about in industry and enterprise all the time, about how there's data silos everywhere.
Yeah.
And I never thought of it the way you just put it, Marc. We have data silos at home too. Everything independent. Yeah.
It's true.
And Alexa brings it all together and smashes those data silos. All you have to do is give them all your information and send it to the NSA. And
You know that I read a paper that was saying that in the US, children prefer to do the homework with Alexa than with their parents.
Really?
Oh.
Wow. So
that makes sense, because the Alexa won't yell at them.
Exactly.
If they get
Well, this is perfect, because then these kids are going to be perfectly fine living in the Matrix. They don't need.
So we'll need a resurrection, right?
Yes.
By the way, I saw that trailer. It looks awesome.
It does look awesome.
Yeah. The movie looks awesome. Yeah.
That one and The Sopranos. The HBO Max is coming out with The Sopranos looking back as to when they were kids. So if you're a big Sopranos fan, you need to go check out what's coming there. That's looking like it's going to be so good.
We get to see a young James Gandolfini.
Yeah.
Rest
I
in
was-
peace, man. Some of the
Rest
great
in
ones
peace.
are no
He was
longer
a great-
with us.
he was a
man.
great actor.
Yeah, I loved him.
I kind of want to go
Absolutely.
back and watch that series from the beginning all over again, just to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, just like when we did our little 9/11 20-year deal, I rewatched Zero Dark 30, about when they got bin Laden. And and remember, he had a small role in there. He was the director of the CIA.
Yes.
And that. So I was like, oh, James, I haven't seen you in forever. Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Wow. So, Ryan, you got the most hooked up home ever. It sounds like you got everything under the sun, which is you're way ahead of me by far. I only have a couple of things,
Yeah.
I'm like the cobbler's children have no shoes kind of thing for me,
Well, it's like my dad. It's that whole scenario. Like my dad's an air conditioning man, but when you walk into his house, you're like, why is this house so hot? Like the systems are horrible in here. It's like anyone that's a tradesman or whatever, their own equipment is just like falling apart.
Absolutely.
God, that is so
Unless
funny.
you're Ryan, you're investing in all of this stuff to check it out.
But
and play
you
with
can't
it.
escape the physical stuff, right? You just can't escape it. I mean, digital is there for augmentation. It doesn't replace the physical. I mean, the digital twin or the digital model doesn't cool your house. It's the physical stuff. So I mean, we need people like your dad that know how to work the actual things that influence our lives,
But you know what? Like
physical
IoT
sense.
IoT has become a big thing for the HVAC and energy market. And so it's like now they have a whole layer of energy saving requirements and incentives and all of these things that even the state you can write off when you do your taxes, all these incentive programs,
Wow.
5-star, all this stuff going on. But so my dad has had to learn all of the commercial because he does a lot of commercial HVAC systems.
Oh, wow.
But he's kind of semi-retired, so he kind of
That's
watches.
tough work.
But they have to hire cranes and do all that. But he said the systems, the software for all of the equipment that they put in, it's so automated. And he said there's just a lot of sensors in them. He said there's so many things that when he got his license so long ago that it's completely different. So you really do need to understand a lot of the technology that's impacting HVAC systems because it's changing a lot. And he said it's pretty much disrupting the industry. But the big thing is the energy component to the systems and how the energy savings and all of the sustainability push, the green initiatives have really driven the changes in the system. So
Wow,
it's kind of
imagine
cool.
that.
I like to talk shop with him.
Imagine that. Sustainability, promoting and pushing job growth and opportunity. Who would ever
I
thought?
love that. So, yesterday I was at the
Right,
mobile.
Ryan?
Yeah.
Rob's got a story. What?
Yeah, so yesterday at the Mobile Future Forward event, our North American president CEO Nicholas Hoveldop for Ericsson did one of the fireside chats with Chetan Sharma and talking about the Ericsson 5G smart factory in Louisville, Texas, so outside of Dallas. And it was great to go in depth. We showed a video and then really talked in depth. A lot of people go, oh, someone got to build a greenfield futuristic smart factory, because most of us are like trying to make old factories more modern and improve them with IoT. This was the opportunity to start from scratch. And so it kind of like won the whatever
5G Coolness Award.
Lighthouse Award for the ultimate, Industry 4.0 factory. And so you see the normal stuff you'd expect in there. It's sensors everywhere, AGVs running around, the whole deal like you would expect. Not a lot of people in there. But also they talked about all the energy savings and how IoT sensors were working with HVAC and working with the electricity grid. When you go outside the building, just solar panels forever. And then big, what do they call them? Cisterns, giant water tower things. 2 of these giant water tower things. And they really went in depth on water and cooling and solar and how it works with the grid interactively using IoT sensors and stuff like that. And so it was much more in-depth explanation of what it's doing above and beyond just being this IoT smart factory with everything being so automated. It was pretty cool. And I know I definitely need to go down to fly to Dallas and go do a tour. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
But do you
You know
think it
what,
still will be working or?
Yeah.
Or
Could you say that again?
Why,
Sorry,
Siri?
couldn't
What?
hear what you said.
I'm not talking to you, Siri. What do you mean, sorry?
Alexa and Siri. I mean, total bitches. Like disrupting.
But
Hey,
Mark, what
Ryan.
did you say? I'm sorry.
No,
What did you say?
I was joking about if the factory will still be there after taking the pictures and one day running factory, or
No.
if it will be sold by the kilo of the pieces in there.
You never know. You never know.
You know, I was working on the first smart building in Barcelona in 2010, and we got like a tour around the building and the architect was showing us, look, all the solar panels, etc., and all the how we manage as a AAA power efficiency building, blah 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 blah. And it was funny because a friend, Adam Greenfield, as an expert on smart cities, visited Barcelona, and I invited him like, hey, come and join us and visit the new smart building in Barcelona. And then we went to the roof where the solar panels were, and all the solar panels were stacked again. So they were not in position. And then a week after we went, there were no solar panels. So we thought that these solar panels were going to another building in Barcelona to take the pictures and continue their route around the smart city building.
Oh my God.
So,
Oh my God.
welcome to the jungle. Yeah.
Welcome to the jungle.
So is this kind of
Oh my
like
gosh.
sustainability theater?
Exactly.
Hey, just like in Texas, they are showing these news articles and these videos of tractors in these middle of these dirt fields that they've cut up the blades on these wind farm systems, and they're stacked up in the dirt and they're burying them. What in the hell? Like, what happened to sustainability there? So after they've retired them, they don't have anywhere to trash them. They cut them up in pieces, lay them in rows, and they're burying them out in the middle of West Texas.
Wow.
Weird.
What the mother
People are
loving
strange.
F is that?
Wow.
People is strange.
Like,
So
it completely defeats the purpose of what we're trying to do.
Stranger Things, yeah.
Stranger things, and people are strange when you're a stranger, you know.
So, hey, Ryan, just really curious, since we have you here, I was just wondering, you mentioned smart factories, blah, 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 all these wonderful areas that you're doing IoT stuff in. What are you seeing in terms of uptake of 5G, and what are some of the challenges that you see in the near term for 5G adoption? Is that too big of a question?
No, it's a great question.
I don't even know what you just asked, Leonard. I was like, I kind of started dazing off.
No, I was just really curious to get his take, because I know that he's working with a lot of different connectivity technologies. I mean, definitely if he's would tell it, they make all kinds of modules, right? And there's 5G, LTE, NB-IoT, blah, 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 the whole gamut. So I was just wondering, with all the excitement about 5G and the factories and stuff like that, I mean, what are you seeing in terms of uptake, and what some of your customers are saying as they're looking at the 5G option?
Great question, Leonard. So I'm part of the IoT. Yeah, I'm part of the IoT platforms division. So I do more. I'm on the software side, but we are still seeing a lot of customers using 5G. Mostly being probably the system integrators or the suppliers to get a reliable connection through the factory versus dealing with their IT department. So there is that sensitive, if you want to integrate into their system and access the network, unlike maybe a plant, sometimes they'll separate a plant network versus an outside access internet. And so sometimes they won't actually let you plug into the plant network as an equipment supplier, but they're still able to get those diagnostics and through a cellular connection. So it's still kind of the IT plant floor battle that IoT has battled. 5G is that perfect alternative to, okay, well, I don't have to rely on you for a stable, high-speed internet connection anymore. I'm just going to put a gateway in the panel for my machine, and I'll get my metrics anyways. So I think, depending on the customer, you have it as a kind of workaround, especially in like predictive maintenance and private wireless sensor networks, right? You're just getting vibration data without context a lot of times. So you can just have it spitting out numbers for motors and then associate those in the cloud with the IDs. So I think it makes sense from a private wireless network as well, if you're doing a sensor network for stuff like that.
Right.
So it's like Shadow IT 2.0.
That's what I was about to say. That totally spot on. No, I knew we were going to get a nugget out of you, man. I knew it. I knew it. That's awesome. There's a
new wave coming with 5G, and that is we're going to go around you.
It's like screw you. It's called the screw you technique. Screw you ITCIO technique. It's like, you won't give it to us? All right, well, we'll just buy our own server and put Excel spreadsheet on it, you know, like start building Excel spreadsheets that are totally disconnected from our ERP system. It's like,
Hey, don't feel bad. That's how most companies still run their businesses on Excel.
Yeah. So it's a whole new era. It's going to be this whole new trend of
Excel
shadow
the standards
PT.
of
What'd you say, Marc?
the Excel sheets are the standards on computation.
Yeah.
No JSONs, no XML, no nothing. Forget about that. It's Excel.
Excel.
Yeah, Excel, exactly.
Yes.
I mean, forget about
Turn your CSV into Excel.
Forget about no code, low code. Like friggin' Excel. Everyone knows Excel, or most people do. Or at least it's easy enough to do some simple stuff.
Well, everybody on this screen does.
So Ryan, tell us. So you work in the IoT software part of Telet. Even though most people think of Telet with modules and all that stuff, what does your software do? I think I may have heard of it. Why don't you tell us about
all kinds of stuff? It's crazy.
Oh yeah. So thank you, Rob. We do the. I represent the DeviceWise platform. So we break it up into a few chunks. We do what's called the piping or the plumbing. So we work with like Fanuc, Rockwell, Mitsubishi, Omron, all these different controllers, even like your Atlas Copco. And we provide a standardized data layer. So we just enable the CNC from maybe Germany with the Siemens controller to talk to the assembly system made in the US with the Rockwell PLC. And then they could have an error-proofing cell from Japan with maybe an Omron. We can install our server or software on a server, and then we can have those machines communicate to each other in the cloud. So that's one portion of it, the native drivers to unlock that data. And then we have edge low to no code logic, so we can sift through it and say, okay, we don't really need these 150 registers from this machine. Maybe we only care about these three, like successful cycle, maybe a stop, unsuccessful cycle, and then having your takt time with it. And then the third one being we can do also a remote device management and cloud platform. So we can provide that level 2 VPN so that they can access the PLC logic remotely. It's really helpful for semiconductor companies, especially to provide that so they can, and we're seeing system integrators use it a lot more for service. COVID made it really difficult for people who are used to flying these controls to engineers and these service people out last minute. Well, when the state isn't allowing visitors and maybe the facility doesn't allow it, giving them that secure access to their equipment remote, companies have been able to scale it and do another revenue stream. So yeah, the piping and the plumbing is my favorite though. It unlocks all the possibilities. I see a controls guy who says he spent 3 days getting a Rockwell PLC to talk to a Mitsubishi And we were able to do it in 2 minutes, just drag and dropping in a no-code environment. And it was kind of one of those moments where he goes, I wish I had that 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, me too, right? Like,
you sure it wasn't an Excel spreadsheet? Just kidding. Hey, guys.
Do we have to take a shot every time someone says no code or low code?
Yes, exactly. I'll take a shot of coffee, which I need to get more of because I'm out. Hey, guys, I got to drop. So who wants to take us out? But before someone takes us out, Ryan, thank you so much for jumping on. It was a pleasure having you. It was really fun. We'll just have you on a bunch of times. Just invite yourself whenever, okay? You're a good friend, and we'd love to hear more of your stories and more of your sharing, and I'm sure our audience will as well. So how are we going to take ourselves out here? Are we going to do Spanish in Español a la Barcelona, or is it going to be... You know what, Stephanie, you haven't done it in a long time. Why don't you take us out?
All right. Well, first of all, thank you, Ryan, Treece, representing Telet. And you know what? There are a lot of business development people out in this industry, but you actually walk the talk. You're hands-on with everything. So it's really good to see that. You know what? We talked about a lot about really cool things happening. A lot of stuff being spurred by the pandemic, right? We talked about type 1 diabetes. We talked about smart factories. We're all over the place. But you know what? Stay tuned. IoT Coffee Talk to watch this episode and all of our others. And you can also follow us on Twitter, IoT Coffee Talk. Peace out.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Ryan. See you guys. All right. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.
All right.
Have a good week.
Okay.
Adios.
Bye.